Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got Corey's beautiful back square body back in here. You may remember this square body from episode 1. We pulled some valve covers off and made sure that it had upgraded springs and a trunnion upgrade in it. We don't know what cam's in it. We found stock springs, stock trunnions. In this episode we're going to swap the 317 heads out for a set of 243s, a BTR 660 dual platinum spring, and a BTR trunnion upgrade. We're also going to do an E-fan conversion with a BP Automotive fan harness. Then we're going to get this thing tuned and back to him, ready to rock. And I think once we get finished with this, we're going to start talking about doing the slosh tubs in the front and possibly a gear exchange in the Ford 9-inch that's in the back. We do have to notch the frame on the driver's side for the header a little bit. It's rubbing just a little bit. Told him we'd take care of that while it's in here. But we hope you guys are liking the content that we're trying to bring. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Let us know in the comments of anything you want to see, something you want explained when it comes to an LS or LT based engine. You know, we do a lot of cam swaps, a lot of LS swaps. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to help and try to answer any questions that we can. Make sure to follow us on TikTok at 727 Motorsports. Let's dive into it. Alright, so we'll start by getting the engine cover, the valve covers off here, and this cold air intake tube. Go ahead and knock the coolant system loose, drain the coolant out of it, this fan shroud off, start yanking the front accessories, get the intake off. Drain the coolant looks horrible, absolutely horrible. So we're going to do a very, very thorough inspection when we pull the heads off. We'll look the block over real good. Luckily we're changing the heads, so if it is a blown head gasket or a problem inside of the head, we are taking care of that today. The truck runs great. I don't think it overheated a lick at all. We're going to keep diving into it though. Got to get this fan shroud, front accessories off. Then we'll take it up in the air and see if we can disconnect the exhaust underneath, or if we're going to have to cut it. It'll be time to yank these heads off. We noticed when we took the radiator hose off, we had some nasty coolant. And then this clutch fan is not coming off of that water pump. And you can tell where somebody previously tried to get it off. Does not look like they were successful. And we were not successful either. By the looks of the inside of that water pump, I was going to try to just flush it out and reuse it, but with the hard time we're having and the amount of time we've spent trying to get it off the water pump, we're just going to get a new water pump on the way and take care of it once and for all. And you'll have the peace of mind of having a brand new water pump on the truck. For now, we're going to drop the front accessories, get them all off. Then we're going to take this thing up in the air and get the exhaust undone underneath. And then it'll be time to take the heads off. engine bay now, cleaning the gasket surfaces for the heads on the block. Yeah, that's right, you see a roll lock in her hand. That and a Kenny WD-40 and some caution, you can clean the gasket surfaces pretty quickly. The whole goal is keeping it lubed up so that you don't get any sparks. Low speed, definitely can't just go to town on it with a grinder. You gotta have a certain roll lock and gotta keep it lubed up with WD-40. Don't want to see any sparks. But if you're paying attention, relatively know what you're doing, you can take care of that no problem. Got the springs in the heads yesterday. Running some BTR dual Platinum 660s. Got the valves lapped. I did not film that process, but if that's something you guys want to see, let us know in the comments. And next time we do a set of heads and we put springs in them and lap the valves and all that good stuff, we'll do a detailed video on that. We did end up with some nasty coolant in this thing when we pulled the water pump off. So we did get a brand new water pump coming. Clutch fan didn't want to come off. Another reason to get a new water pump coming. Still got to notch the frame a little bit right here for that header. But that shouldn't be a big deal. I'll wait till Emma gets that side done. I imagine she's going to climb out and probably take a breather, so probably take care of it then. Right now though, I'm going to get us a 2-wire harness set up and loomed, ready to run through that hole to the inside for our fans. Then I've got to get the schematics for the ECM and figure out the 2 wires that come out of the ECM and turn the fan relays on and get those wired up in the truck, get the ECM back up under the dash. Right now I've got the ECM just hanging out right here. I slid it out of its little hole that they made for it. Like the innovative way of isolating the ECM too. It's pretty clever. They got the Fuseblock mounted up over there. So we're going to get that button back up, tuck those back up like they were, get our wires ran in here for those fans. Alright, I've talked with the customer. We're going to mount the Fuseblock for the fans right here under the core support. It has a cover. Of course, it's a BP Automotive, so it's a quality unit. We have the bumper and air dam down there. And this truck doesn't really get driven in the rain, so once he gets caught in the rain or he's washing it, that's the only time it should see any moisture. And they're designed to be put in the engine bay anyway, so it should be fine down there, nice and hidden. Be able to keep the wires clean and tight. I've stuck a coat hanger through the firewall right here where the main harness goes through. I'm going to go in and try to find the end of that coat hanger on the inside of the firewall, pull that through some, tape the harness that I made to it and pull that. That'll allow me to have the 2 wires coming from the ECM to trigger the relays on and have the relays kick on and off when the ECM wants them to kick on and off. Say if the AC is on or if the truck's actually overheating. While I work on that, him has been working on the driver's side over here, getting it cleaned up and ready. I still got to notch that frame, but we'll get to that. We're almost ready to get the heads back on this thing. Pull this radiator out, flush it with the water hose, and get the fans mounted up on it, ready to install. Going to keep this big factory shroud, that way it's still directing air to the motor and pulling it tight around the edge of the radiator. I'll probably drill a little hole somewhere in down here and run our harness behind that, or I'll just notch it in a small area, do a little notch here, something like that. Let them harnesses come out the bottom there. These fans mounted up, harness ran out underneath, little notch up there, and ready to go now. Alright guys, get in here and lay up under this dash, see if I can find where my antenna come through. Over here. Okay. Pull this duct off right here. Give us a little bit more room. That's not a big deal. Alright. Found the antenna. Hey Emma, can you push on that antenna a little bit? Yeah, just slowly. Keep going. Keep going. There it is. Alright. Alright, so I looked through everything yesterday, trying to see if this harness had, usually it's a blue and a green wire. Just trying to see if it had fan controls already ran. I didn't see them, but I see them now, right here. So we don't have to look up schematics because BP got us covered. Alright, so we found the fan relay controls. They're actually longer than I thought they would be, so we'll probably be able to run these straight into the engine bay and then extend them from there. Maybe we'll get lucky and we won't even have to extend them at all. But I'm going to work on getting these loomed and sent up through the firewall. Alright, so now we got our antenna right here. We're going to take some tape. Before we do that, I'm going to tape up this end of this loom here. Just
yeah, I need both hands though.
That's good. That'll work. Perfect. Got our instructions for the fan harness. Of course, BP is our preferred brand, so luckily this truck already had a BP swap harness in it. But here, looking at where all our wires from the fan harness go, our dark green wire is going to go to, if you're using a BP Automotive harness, connect to the dark green fan 1 control wire. Then our dark blue wire is going to go to the dark blue wire fan 2 control. And then we've got a pink 18 gauge wire. If you're using a BP Automotive harness, connect the 2 pink fan relay control wires. And there's an example on the next page. So essentially what we're doing is we're going to tie those 2 pink wires to 1 wire that's going to go to the fan relay control. Simple enough. now the frame's clearanced. Emma's going to blow the bolt holes, the head bolt holes out in the block with an air compressor. Always recommend doing that. If not, that coolant that's down in there can cause a bolt to lock up and not go as far as you need to, and then when you try to run it past that, it can crack a block if you're not careful. Not so common in the iron blocks, but has been seen in the aluminum blocks, so we don't want to go down that road. Always clean out the bolt holes, then we'll put the dowel pins in it and get these heads set on here. Alright, while she finishes that up, you're dealing with the head bolts on an LS. You got two different styles. You got 9703 and 04 and up. If you notice, all of our bolts, our 15s here, are the same length. You'll know if you have the other ones, they're significantly longer. So we have 04 and up. So when came in a lot of swaps and stuff and trucks that have been engine swapped, a lot of the times you won't know. You have various engines just put in, so not sure exactly what year it is. So we try to keep a set of each head bolts on hand, at least one or two sets. That way, if we do order the wrong ones for a customer's vehicle, then we have a set on hand to replace them. Luckily this time we knew that this come out of a later model Escalade, so it had the 04 and up style head bolt. Alright, so when you're putting these head gaskets on, the head gaskets are labeled front on both sides. So if it goes on the driver's side, front will be over here. If it goes on the passenger side, front will be over here. Very important that you get that right. On the stock GM gaskets, this back port is blocked off, just like it is on the block here. If you put it on backwards, coolant can't flow into the head, cause an overheating issue. It can be very, very detrimental. So you can pop your gasket on. Now we're ready for cylinder head. Of course, we didn't want to cut his exhaust, so we've got the headers over here bungee corded up. It's going to be an interesting battle to get that sucker back in there. But we got it off with them on, so surely we can get them back in. Start with a pass at 22 foot-pounds with our little torque wrench. And what I usually do here is I'll go ahead and torque my 10 mils. They get 22 foot-pounds as well. Then I'll bust out the big boy. I'm going to start with a 90-degree pass. I normally don't do this, but because of having clearance issues with these headers, I'm using an adapter to go from 1/2 inch to the 3/8 socket. Alright, now they're going to get one more pass at 50 degrees. I'll go back and check my 10 mils and just make sure they're still at 22. Driver's side's torqued. So we got his rocker arms and his trunnion upgrade laid out. We've already got a couple of the stock trunnions popped out of the stock rockers. We're going to go ahead and knock all these out and then knock all those in. So we're using the press. Emma's got a trunnion tool. You can also use a 22mm socket for your receiver, and then you're going to use a 1/2 inch or 13mm socket as your driver. And if you notice on the rockers, this side's machined round, still has the texture from the cast, so no machining actually. And this side's got two machine spots that are flat. That side's going to be the side that goes down. So she's got a rocker set up in there. Got her socket set up. And she's left with a bunch of needle bearings, a couple bearing races, and a stock trunnion. Alright, so now we are going to install our bearing and trunnion into this. Get us a bearing in here first. Alright. Back the press off. Slide this out of the way. Then I'm going to use the trunnion itself to push the alignment cap out of that bottom bearing. Then we're going to take our alignment washer and stick that on the bottom. We'll take our second bearing. Now this is where you're going to leave that alignment cap on it. Take your second alignment washer. And we're going to take a socket that's big enough on the inside it can receive that plastic cap, and the outside will press on that washer. And just slow and easy. Alright, it tightened up. We're going to back this off. Remove our plastic cap. Remove one washer. Remove two washers. Make sure your trunnion spins free. Now we're going to add our snap rings. So we're back in here today, finish this thing up. Got the head stork down, and then we got the trunnion upgrades added to the rockers. We got those ready to go. Now we got to climb in the engine bay, put the two grounds on the back of the heads, put on the cooling crossover block offs on the back of the heads, put the rockers and push rods in it, valve covers, bolt the headers up, and then it'll be climb out, get the fans mounted up on the radiator and bolted in, front accessories. Then we just got to add the fuse block and wiring for the fans, which shouldn't be a big deal at all. And then we got some tuning to do. Unfortunately today it is raining here in northeast Arkansas, so no actual street driving or tuning is going to be done with this truck because of how nice it is and it doesn't get drove on wet roads. But when we get a dry day, we will regroup for that and try to get some footage of tuning this thing for you guys during the day. But yeah, we've only got a few hours left to work on this thing before it's ready to rock. We'll probably go ahead and do some idle tuning here in the shop. And we were supposed to have some really nasty weather, some hail and tornadoes and such they were calling for. I think all that really passed over through the night. I don't really know what's coming today. I should probably check the weather. But we're about to dive into this thing and get after it. Emma's finishing up the rockers on that driver's side. We'll get that valve cover on. We got the driver's side header on, grounds that go in the back of the heads in. Alright, so we got this thing buttoned up on the top end, got the E-fans in, got the radiator back in the truck, got the cold air intake on it, coil packs, new spark plugs, new plug wires, new water pump. Now we're about to take this thing up in there, drain the oil, change the oil filter, and mount up the fan relay and fuse box right here behind the front bumper under the core support, and get this thing buttoned up, and then hopefully tomorrow the roads will be dry enough for us to do some street tuning and get this thing lined out and ready to go back home.